Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. I am the Fan of Steel, and welcome to the YouTube channel. For those of you that are listening to this on a podcast format, thank you guys for listening as well, and considering going to YouTube and looking up the YouTube channel, Fan of Steel. And I'm so glad to have all of you guys here today. So, this is a little bit of an interesting one because, well, the reviews are out for at least limited critic reviews are out for Rise of Skywalker. So today we're going to be talking about, should we still be excited for the Rise of Skywalker, and am I still excited for the Rise of Skywalker considering the reviews and everything that we're hearing. So before we go into it, I actually want to just give you guys a brief little idea of my personal expectations before I saw any of the reviews, and if the reviews have tempered those at all. And then also I want to just give you guys a little bit of an idea of my thoughts on the Star Wars franchise up until Rise of Skywalker. So we'll go into that real quick. Personally, I have enjoyed all of the Star Wars movies up until Rise of Skywalker. Now, I have not seen it yet. I will be seeing it on Saturday, so most of you will probably have seen it before me. And I would ask that if you're listening to this, if you're commenting in the comment section, anything like that on this video specifically, please keep it spoiler free. This is going to be 100% spoiler free, as I have not seen it yet. This is just predictions and expectations, okay? So nothing about the movie, no details, nothing that you have not seen other than what is in marketing. So let's keep it like that. We will have a spoiler-filled review probably coming out Sunday or Monday for Rise of Skywalker. So keep your eyes out for that. But as for this one, let's keep it spoiler-free in the comments section. And I really appreciate that, guys. Y'all always do a really good job of that. But thank you so much for that. But yes, I have enjoyed... I would say the only one that I didn't really care for that much, and it wasn't that I disliked it, it's just I just didn't really care that much about it, and that would be Solo. I thought Solo was a fun movie. I thought it was enjoyable enough, but it wasn't really anything I cared about watching that much. I basically just ended up watching it because I was bored. And I ended up watching it probably a year after it came out just because I had no desire of seeing it. And it basically left me feeling the way I thought I would feel about it, as okay, that was cool, I guess, but it wasn't really anything I just really, really wanted to see. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my feelings on that. But I really, really enjoyed The Force Awakens. I loved that movie. That was good. Even though I can see where people that say, well, it's too much like A New Hope. I do see that argument, but for me, it didn't bother me at all. And personally, guys, I know this is going to be very divisive, but I very much enjoyed The Last Jedi. I really enjoyed that movie. And whenever I came out of it, I thoroughly had a good time with it. And I'll say, when I first came out of it, I honestly thought that maybe it would end up being in my top 3. Now, I've watched it a few times since then, and I will say that that has lowered a little bit for me, but I still think it makes it into the top 5 for me. So I really, really enjoyed The Last Jedi. Again, I can understand some of the criticisms of it. I don't really care for the Canto Bight stuff. That could have been either done differently or left out. That whole part of the story of getting the master code breaker and all of that stuff, that felt a little bit corny to me, and it just felt a little bit off. It's not that I hated it, but it does feel a little bit off. And I really think that's how my philosophy and my opinion for The Last Jedi is. I really, really enjoyed the good things in it, and the negative things to me didn't bother me as much as they did some people. I still acknowledge that there are some negative issues to it, and there are some things that I didn't really like that much. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and the negative stuff was not super negative to me, as it was for some people, and may have been for you guys too. Some of you, the negative issues like maybe the stuff with Luke, I really enjoyed the stuff with Luke. Now, would I have liked to have seen him? Um, I would have enjoyed it if they had shown Luke as, just this very heroic, very, dominant hero. But I also really enjoyed what they did do with him. I enjoyed the direction they took of kind of the broken hero. And I enjoyed seeing him recovered and redeemed from that. And it did feel like a fit to me, because even in The Empire Strikes Back, we see that Luke is kind of prone to getting down on himself, and he's prone to discouragement, but we also see that he does have the ability to overcome it, because he has before. And just the progression with him, I like that story, and, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. And I know some people didn't. Some of y'all may have really hated that. I thought it was fine. I do always get that feeling whenever that Rey tries to hand him the lightsaber the second time, not the first time, but the second time, right before she's going to leave, after they have that little blow-up fight and he's reconnected with the Force, and he goes to hand it to her and he just kind of looks away. I feel like most of y'all, I'm like, no, take it, go fight. And I do feel that kind of that awe feeling when he stays on the island. But I felt like I was rewarded later when you see him show up and his interaction with Leia and C-3PO and all of the different things that he says and the lines that he gives and just the feeling of hope that he brings. And I understand that they could have done the same thing with him coming back in the flesh, but I like the way that it worked out, and just overall, I really do enjoy The Last Jedi. So I've enjoyed Rise of Skywalker. Sorry. I enjoyed The Force Awakens. I enjoyed The Last Jedi. And I will also say that while there are a lot of elements of the prequels that I really don't like, and I do find the direction jumbled, I do find the stories to be less than what they could have been, and I do have my own ideas about, man, if they had done this and just left this stuff out, how much better of a movies they could have been. Even with all that, I still enjoy the prequels too. There's really none of the Star Wars movies that I walked away from disliking. And again, going back to, I think Solo is really the closest to that. So with all that in mind, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. I am a huge lover of Star Wars, as I know many of y'all are too. Pretty much, it's hard to find someone who doesn't like Star Wars. But I'm saying all this to say, everything that has been done, whether it's the prequels, whether it's the original trilogy, I love the original trilogy. That's the best that there is, and there's no argument with that. Or whether it's the sequel trilogy that we've got now with Rey and Kylo. I have enjoyed all of it. I've loved all of it, and I do have some criticisms of it, but overall, I have been a huge fan of everything that has been done. So how does someone like that, someone who has enjoyed the prequels for what they are, someone who really loves the original trilogy, someone who has been fully invested in the sequels, those things, how does someone like me, seeing the response to Rise of Skywalker, how do I react? And what are my thoughts? And does this lower my excitement and my anticipation for the movie? And that's what we're going to be discussing. So, got into that. Now let's take a look at this. So, as of right now, Rise of Skywalker is sitting at a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously, I wish that could be better. Now, some of the top things that it is being tagged as, here just a few like little nitbit things that people are tagging at it. cringeworthy, overhyped, great special effects, must watch, unconvincing, one-dimensional, characters, powerful visuals, illogical, boring, and emotional. Those are the top voted tags for Rise of Skywalker. And if I was going to add one to that, just from reading those, the tag that I would add to the tags to sum it all up is divisive. This sounds like a very, very divisive movie. Sad to say, The Last Jedi was a very divisive movie. And it doesn't look like... I know a lot of people had a lot of hope, and I was one of them, that this movie would bring everything together, because it was supposed to be bringing the things with the prequels and with the original trilogy and with the sequel trilogy, and giving us answers and letting us know some things, and giving just a sum up and a conclusion to all things, and a conclusion to the Skywalker saga. And even JJ saying that after you watch this, and if you watch all of the episodes from the prequels to Rise of Skywalker, that there are going to be a lot of things that you're going to see that are going to make more sense, and that are going to be kind of like, oh, moments, like, oh, I never saw that before. And I think that's what we were all hoping for. And it sounds like for some people, for 57% of people, it is that. But then there is that 43% out there that it's not working for. That this movie is looking to be very divisive. And I've listened to a lot of reviews and things on it. Well, not a lot, but I've listened to a few of them. I actually stopped listening to them. I'm not going to listen to any more, because I think I was starting to figure some stuff out, just because these are people that I listen to. So I kind of know what they were expecting, and then they're not giving spoilers, but they're letting me know, hey, this and this. And it's like, oh, okay, so this probably happens, or this probably happened. And I want to go into it spoiler-free. So I've stopped watching a lot of and listening to a lot of reviews. But the reviews seemed very mixed. This seems like a very mixed movie. Now, before any of the reviews or anything had come out, my expectations for the movie were this. One, I wanted to see a very satisfying and a very eventful conclusion to Rey and Kylo's story. I also wanted to see more stuff with Finn and Poe. I really liked those characters, and I liked especially what they did with Poe's character, what they were starting to do in The Last Jedi with his relationship with Leia. And Finn, I liked what they were trying to go for with that. And again, the only problem is I didn't really care for the Canto Bight stuff. And since that played largely into his character, and what we saw a lot out of him had to do with Canto Bight, it didn't land for me as solidly as I wanted to. But still, I'm hoping for some good stuff there, and I was hoping to see some really good stuff with him. And, of course, I do want some answers as to why certain things happened. I want to see... I don't need an explanation for Snoke, but it would be nice to get one, at least to get a little bit more information on him, and maybe what his grand plan was and what he was going to do. And we've been getting teased a lot about Emperor Palpatine. He's been in all of the marketing, all of the posters, really, for the most part, and the trailers and everything. Even since that trailer at Comic-Con, we had been getting teased, hey, Palpatine is back. And I know, like most of you probably, when that first trailer dropped, that was insane. And just the excitement for hearing just that cackle at the end, and just the excitement of it just opened up so many doors of, wow, they are really going for it in this movie. Like this movie, we don't know what we're going to get, but it's going to be good. Like that's the feeling I had after watching that trailer. After all of that was just, I don't know what's going to be in this movie. I have no idea now, but I have a feeling whatever it is, it's going to be really, really good, and I can't wait to see it. That's how I felt after watching that first trailer. And I've enjoyed the marketing. I really enjoyed that one TV spot that they did with Kylo, where that he is going to confront Palpatine. That was insane. And I hadn't really been watching the TV spots, but I had been hearing that that one was really good and a must-see, so I did watch that one, and that one was exceptionally good. So, I think one of the biggest things that I have been hoping that Episode 9 would do is create a bit bigger love for The Last Jedi. Because I love The Last Jedi so much, because I really enjoyed that movie, and because a lot of people didn't, I have really been hoping this whole time that Episode 9 will explain some things in a way that will give more credence and give more light and perspective to some of the events in Episode 8. And so, just to kind of sum it all up, and again, these were thoughts that I were having, these were expectations and things that I wanted to see. Also, one other thing, I really, really wanted to see or hear something from Anakin. I also wanted to hear or see something from Yoda again, since we saw him in Episode 8. So I have tried to keep my expectations. I've tried to keep my speculations low for this movie, and not because I have been expecting it to fail me, but because I try to do that with a lot of things. I even did that with Endgame. Just because I don't want to get my expectations to an unreasonable level and I want to go into a movie not having a checklist. I don't want to go in and be like, if they don't do this, 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 and this, then I'm not going to be happy. And really, I think I've only got two checks for Rise of Skywalker. And that is, one, I need them to give me a satisfying and a believable and a good conclusion to Kylo and Rey. Because I have really, really loved those characters. I was very, very skeptical of Kylo Ren before I watched The Force Awakens. Because, it just looks like they're just doing a Darth Vader ripoff. But they sold me on it, and I have really, really enjoyed it. And I have really, really enjoyed Rey as our protagonist, as our hero. I think she's done a great job. I have really loved that character, and I want to see a good, satisfying conclusion as far as this story goes. And then I would like to see some potential for her moving forward too, that this is not the end, and see some really good character development, and just I want to see a satisfying story and conclusion to a way for both of them. And the second thing is, I need a good chunk of this movie to have Palpatine in it. And the reason why is because if Palpatine, to me, if he just shows up in the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie, to me that's going to feel like false advertisement. Because, if he has been so prominent and so much of a focal point in all of the marketing, like, when you do that, that is telling me that, okay, this character is going to play a big role and have a big part in this movie. So I'm expecting to get that. I don't feel like that's an unreasonable expectation. I feel like that is an expectation that I have gotten because that is what they have shown me. So if I go into this movie and you don't give me that, then I'm going to feel like, well, that was false advertisement. You were showing me something that I didn't get. And honestly, I think that's the thing I'm worried about the most. I just have this awful feeling that Palpatine is not going to be in the movie as long as I am hoping for, and not even as I'm hoping for, as long as the trailers have made it out to be, because the trailers have made him out to be a very big part of this movie. And if he only shows up for 10 or 15 minutes right towards the end, that's going to be disappointing for me. And I really don't care how you do that. That's going to be at least somewhat disappointing. So now, if they had only shown him in like the last trailer, if that Comic-Con trailer had been the last trailer that we got, I wouldn't be expecting that. But he has been. We had his cackle in the first one. We've had him talking and narrating through every single trailer. We had him, the main poster that we got for them. He is the entire foreground. He's the entire background of that poster. So I want to see Palpatine. And to me, it doesn't even... I will even be satisfied if... even if they don't show him until the second act of the movie, but if they at least let us know that the characters know that he's there. Because we all know he's in this movie. They've made it very abundantly clear. So I need to know for a good portion of this movie, at least 3/4 of this movie, I need to know that the characters in this movie know that Palpatine is there. Otherwise, it's going to be like, I'm just going to be waiting, okay, where is he, where is he, where is he, where is he? Come on, let's do it. And I've had movies like that, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there have been movies like that have done that, and it's just been like, okay. And it's been disappointing. It's been disappointing. Again, if they had only teased him in one of the trailers, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. I'll give you one example. Civil War. Captain America Civil War. Remember, we were all thinking that there was a slight possibility that they would get to use Spider-Man in Civil War. We had not seen him for any of the promotional material until that last trailer, and they plugged him in right there at that last trailer. When I saw that, I thought, okay, yes, Spider-Man is in this movie. But he's probably not in a lot of this movie. Now, we knew that because the movie had pretty much ended shooting, and it was the last trailer. And he was only in it for just a couple seconds. So that lets me know, okay, this character's in the movie, but they're not a huge part of the movie. And that was adequate. That's what it was. He was in there he was a part of that movie for just a few minutes in there. It was a great few minutes. It was awesome. And then that was it. It was done. But the focus of the advertisement was always on Steve and Tony. And who were the two main characters? Steve and Tony. That was how it should be. That was a positive example of how you would do that marketing. I can't think of a negative example where they've shown. Yeah, I can. War for the Planet of the Apes. You guys remember that one? When that came out and they teased this huge war, and all the advertisement made it look like this was going to be just a battle frenzy of a movie. Now, the movie was still a decent movie, but it was nothing like what it was advertised. Rise of Skywalker has advertised to be a Palpatine-heavy movie, and I know I'm sticking on this point for a long time, but it has really been a worry for me, and I'm still a little worried about it. I need Palpatine to be a big part of this movie, even if he's just kind of looming in the background, but the characters are aware of them. I don't want him showing up at the last little bit, catching everybody off guard. I have returned. Long have I waited. And then he's dead. And then it's just over. At that point, it is just going to feel like useless fan service, and I don't want that. If you're bringing Palpatine back, it needs to carry some weight, and it needs to have an impact on the story. Otherwise, I will have just wished that they left him out of the movie entirely, and it's really going to affect my enjoyment of it, because that is what they have set up, that's what they have shown. And that's what I want them to give me. Okay. So those have been my thoughts before I have listened and heard and read all of the reactions and the reviews. So where do I stand now? Am I still excited for this movie? Well, yes. Has my expectations, have they changed any? Not really. Maybe a little bit. I have tried to hamper them a little bit, but I am still very, very excited for this movie. But I think I'm just a little bit more worried for it than I was before. This was my second most anticipated movie of the year, just barely behind Endgame. But it has been the movie that I have worried about the most all year. I have been worried about Star Wars Rise of Skywalker more than I was worried about Endgame. I had a little bit of worry about Endgame just because Infinity War was so good, but at the same time I knew that Kevin Feige had a plan for everything. I knew that they knew where they were going with this, and they've not failed us in the past. So I didn't expect them to fail me with this, and boy, did they deliver. Now, some of the criticisms and stuff, and some of the positive things that I've heard about the movie, I want to go ahead and bring out and talk about. So let's go ahead and start with the negatives. One of the negative things that I heard about this movie was that it did not feel like this trilogy was written with the trilogy in mind. It felt like that this movie was just kind of written as it went along. So they did Force Awakens, and then they were like, oh, okay, well, where will we go now? Well, I guess we would kind of go here. Okay, well, let's do Last Jedi. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, okay, we'll do this, and then we get Rise of Skywalker. Instead of being more like, okay, we've got this idea for a trilogy. This is the first part, this is the middle, and this is how it ends. So it's always... Which really bothered me when I heard that, because I have been under the assumption that they wrote these with a trilogy in mind. That's the expectation I've been under, and I thought that's what they had done, and now it sounds like, well, it feels like maybe they didn't do that. So that kind of bothers me a little bit. Another negative, and I've kind of mentioned and I've heard this from pretty much all of the reviews that I've read, is that this movie feels very chaotic and very jumbled. And that seems indicative of something that would have touched on the last point that I just made, of a movie that is just wrapping up a conclusion where no conclusion was in mind whenever that it was first started. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I've also heard people saying that there are a lot of things that feel like a course correction from The Last Jedi. And that bothers me as a Last Jedi fan. I'm hoping that there's not a lot of stuff that is just taken out and ignored. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, maybe some of this will be okay. Maybe one of those things that feels like a course correction is that Luke is not actually dead. And if that's the case, if they can do it in such a way that it feels believable, I'm fine with Luke coming back and Luke still being alive. And I think that would be fun and exciting. There are ways that it could be done that I would be okay with it. Now, we've talked a lot of negative. Let's talk about some positive. I've heard that this movie is stunning to watch, that it looks great, that it looks fantastic. And if you guys watched the little sneak peek that we got from the new episode that dropped with the new episode of The Mandalorian, then you saw that scene and how good that looked with the Millennium Falcon and that flight and that space, not really a space battle, but a spaceship battle. How cool all that looked. Everything that I've seen of this movie looks amazing. And I have heard that it is a very adventurous movie. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of lightsaber fights, there's a lot of really cool stuff like that. And that, of course, gets me super excited, and I cannot wait to see that. So, overall, yes, I'm still excited for this movie. I'm still very much anticipating it, but there are a few things that worry me. There are a few things that I'm a little concerned about, and I guess we'll see how that goes when we see the movie in a couple days. So, those are kind of my thoughts on it. Yes, I'm still excited about this movie, and I'm still very, very much looking forward to it, but I am a little concerned that it won't be as good as we all expected, but I will still very, very much be looking forward to seeing this movie when it comes out. And actually, it's coming out tonight, so some of y'all will probably already be seeing it here in a few hours. But until next time, guys, those are my thoughts on it, and keep geeking out.